Hey guys, James with Torches and Tactical, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're getting our hands on a brand new contender in the EDC and tactical light world, and that is the Wuben L3. So this compact powerhouse promises 3,000 lumens, a built-in power bank, and a whole lot more. So is this the new budget king? Well, let's find out together. So right out of the box, I'm going to tell you guys that the Wuben L3 really does feel pretty solid. It is CNC machined aluminum alloy with that hard anodized finish, and it just screams durability with potentially one caveat, which I'll get to here in a little bit. So it is compact enough for everyday carry. It fits comfortably in my hand, and the texture on the body and the unique twisting ring for the USB-C port really do give it that premium feel. That hidden USB-C port is in my opinion, a genius move for waterproofing, as it has no flimsy rubber flaps or anything like that anywhere on this. It is IP68 rated, which means it can handle submersion, and it also has a 1 meter drop resistance rating as well. So now some folks online have noted that the tail cap might be a little bit stiff, and the threads not being anodized might lead to some grit over time. I'll show you those here on the tail cap here in just a second. But all that takes is a little bit of maintenance. But overall, build quality is definitely impressive for its price point. So, guys, I want to say that let's just get straight into the fun part. No, actually, let's go ahead and change it up a little bit. I'm going to go ahead, set this down, and I want to show you everything because one thing that comes in it is this pretty generic lanyard. I would like to see something like I have from the X3 and the X2s. They have a really cool lanyard that came with it, and the lanyard has a hidden USB-A to USB-C port. I would have loved to have seen something like that pretty much from any Wuben introduced from that point on. I think this is a genius idea, 2-in-1. I'm always a fan of utilizing things for more than one purpose, so I think this would have been an amazing idea. But the one that it came with, again, is just that standard or generic Wuben branded lanyard. So we'll get this out of the way. And then you do also have a USB charging cord. This is C to C because, like I said, this does have power bank options, and I will show you that here in just a little bit. And then one thing I'm actually kind of happy about is they changed up a lot of their packaging. I do have a review that's coming out very soon of the X2 Pro and even their G5, and frankly, I'm not a fan of that packaging at all. I think the X2 and X3 packaging were primo, were mint, and I mean, if you can't have that, I would rather see a box similar to this. Plus, I kind of dig the camo pattern. Maybe it's the years in service for me that kind of go back to this. But I dig the camo pattern, and I'd rather take a box over X2 Pro and the G5 packaging. So get the box out of the way. And it does also come with a manual. And I'd want you guys to hang on to this for a little bit because it does show you everything in here that's really going to be, I guess, listed as important. Operation modes and making sure that you remove the battery isolator. So pretty much everything you'll need. So with that out of the way, now it is time to look at the L3. So 704, L3 704. I don't know, frankly, what the 704 means. But with that all out of the way, now let's get to the fun part. I know you guys want to know how bright is this beast. So Wuben claims 3,000 lumens on turbo. And let me tell you, it really does deliver. The L3 features a single tail switch for all of those operations, and it is very intuitive and easy to use. So a quick momentary press will give you, or half press, I guess you might want to call it, will give you momentary light. And if you want to, you can go ahead and press it all the way down and it will lock that on. And from here, half presses are going to ramp up between all of your brightness modes. And one thing that you might have just noticed is it doesn't ramp all the way up and then start back at ground zero. It will actually go all the way up and then all the way down. And if you want to access turbo, you can do a half press and hold. And once you've hit half a second, it will go to that full 3,000 lumens. So here you can see a pretty defined hotspot and plenty of usable spill. And that all comes from the smooth reflector here. It does help bring it out a little bit. That's why you still get that defined hotspot with the usable spill. If it was an orange peel reflector, I definitely think you would notice a little bit more aurora effect. or a smoother transition from the hotspot. So that is, frankly, I think it's an all-around fantastic beam, and it also has that memory mode, which I think is a huge plus. So here, let's go ahead and do, now we'll shut it off, and then we'll do a full press, and it does go back into memory mode. So another thing you can do is 1, 2, 3, and you do get an SOS, 1, 2, 3. Oh, and then a quick double press will get you that tactical strobe. So this one seems like it has a slight alternating frequency, which I definitely think will be more distracting as far as a strobe goes. So very, like I said, very, very user friendly and intuitive interface. And I mean, frankly, I like it. But if we're going to be moving on, I do, there's still plenty to get to. I do want to show you one of the standout features of the L3, and that is its integrated power bank. So if we take a look, you can see lanyard holes here, but I think a real star of the show is this USB-C port. Now, when I say star of the show, do keep in mind, I also frankly think it might be a little bit of a detriment. And I'll explain that here in just a second. So you can see that the USB-C port does slide after it screws into place. So that will lock it down so it won't go anywhere. But if you want to open it up and give it a charge, you can unscrew it and then you can slide it up and out of the way. So that USB-C cord does fit very nicely. And I'm going to go ahead and unwrap this now for you so you all can see. Just because I did have a comment before about, oh, you probably don't even charge the lights. And yes, I do, but I just have so many USB-C cords that frankly, it's not worth unwrapping another one. But now you guys can see that, yes, I know how to unwrap a cord. And you can use this to charge any USB-C device. So I'll go ahead and leave that here for just a second. And you can see that you can use the 4800 milliamp hour 21700 cell. You can use that to charge any USB-C PD device. So that's not the star of the show though, so I'm going to go ahead and get it out of here. And I will go ahead and show you what I think is probably a detriment. So if you notice, I'm going to bring it way up here. If you notice that when you unscrew the battery charging port, it slides up and into the head up here, the bezel. So my concern, frankly, is going to be if you happen to drop this, what happens if in this thinner piece of aluminum here, what happens if it hammers it down and it stops you from being able to open up your charging port? That basically limits you to having to undo that tail cap and take out your cell and charge it like that. I don't want to have to do that. I like onboard charging. I'm not against on-cell charging, but if it has onboard charging, I definitely want to use that. So these are those unanodized or non-anodized threads that some people are saying might give a little bit of grit over the time. But in my experience, as long as you keep those well lubricated, that's a non-issue. So you shouldn't have to worry about that at all. And if we are moving along, I will say that one thing I do really like about this is even though it is kind of separated, so you have that LED giving all that output, and it is kind of separated from the mass of the body because it narrows down for the USB-C charging port, it still gives pretty decent run times, and it still gives brightness for quite some time. So as far as run times go, you can get up to 120 hours on moonlight mode, which is really, really excellent. If we are going to talk about some pros and cons, I will say that I love 3000 lumens. Wow, I love 3000 lumens from a pretty handheld light. Now, frankly, being a 21700 light, it's not going to be as pocketable, but still quite nice. As far as the built-in power bank, I love the fact that I can always charge with something I already have on me while I'm on the go. And I love the robust build quality as well. That aluminum alloy, the IP68, and a good drop resistance. So I also really think that for the price, you can have this anywhere between $40 and $50, depending on sales or not. But I think that it's definitely very competitively priced for the amount of features you get, especially with that intuitive tail switch. So that tail switch UI is pretty easy to get used to. Now, as far as cons, even though it does hold that 3000 lumens for a decent amount of time, without that dedicated heatsink, it does start to get a little warm, but it's normally up on the tail or on the head end anyway, so you don't feel a lot of that. Now the recessed tail switch, I've heard, I don't have frankly any issues with it, but I have heard some issues from some people saying that they don't like having to access a recessed tail switch. And frankly, if you want to get nitpicky, I think these corners might be a little bit sharp. I'd maybe round them off just a little bit so you're not digging your fingers in every time you want to go for that. And ultimately, I think that the Wuben L3 is a fantastic all-around flashlight. It is bright, it's durable, and that power bank feature adds significant utility. So if you are looking for a powerful, versatile EDC light that won't break the bank, but will provide a power bank, haha, see what I did there? The Wuben L3 definitely is one to consider. It is a powerhouse, and it is a cost-effective or pocket-friendly package. So now, since I've told you all my ins and outs about this, I do want to take this outside so you guys can see how the L3 does in its natural habitat in the dark. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, guys, tonight we are out with the Wuben L3, so I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into it. And for starters, I'm going to go ahead and do a full press. And here we have moonlight of 5 lumens, a half press. This will get us 150 lumens in low. Another half press. We are now at 500 lumens in medium. Another half press. We are at 1500 lumens. And if I do a half press and hold, this is 3000 lumens from the Wuben L3. Now, if it's off, if I do just a double press, you do get that tactical strobe. And if I do a triple press, 1, 2, 3, you do get SOS right here. So SOS is limited to the 150 lumens. But just so you can see it again, I'll go ahead and turn it on all the way, and a half press and hold, and 3000 lumens from the Wuben L3. All right, now that we've seen how the L3 does, let's go ahead and get back inside. All right, guys, so we went outside and we saw the Wuben L3. I know I saved it for the end in this video, but that's it. That's everything I have to say about the Wuben L3. There is black, and I don't know if you guys can tell, but this is sort of an OD green color. So there are a few different color options as well. So I want to know what you guys think of this light. Tell me down in the comments what you think of the Wuben L3. Let me know if you like the video. And finally, guys, if you do like the video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up and subscribe for more flashlight reviews and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in the next one.